Thank you everybody for coming, returning from the coffee break. We're now going to resume the business of the General Assembly. And the next item is the Gazzola Prize award. So I would like to introduce Toshiyuki Kono to give us the report of the Gazzola Prize Committee. Thanks, Toshi.
Good morning, bonjour, buenos dias. I'd like to present a report of the jury of Gazzola Prize and Honorary Members 2023. This report is submitted on behalf of the appointed 2023 Prize Selection Jury that Toshiyuki Kono, Chair of the Selection Committee, Honorary President Amund Zinling Larsen, Norway, previous recipient, Lasana Cisse, Mali, Alfredo Conti, Argentina, Patricia O'Donnell, USA, President ISC ICOMOS IFLA Cultural Landscapes. The Piero Gazzola Prize was established in 1979 in memory of ICOMOS's founding president and is the highest distinction awarded by ICOMOS. The prize is awarded every 3 years during the ICOMOS General Assembly to an individual or institutional ICOMOS member who have contributed with distinction at national and international levels to the aims and objectives of ICOMOS over a long period of time. The beneficiary is chosen by a jury appointed by the ICOMOS Board. The Piero Gazzola Prize, symbolized by a commemorative medal and diploma, has been previously awarded to 14 experts. As years passed, the jury found its work challenging due to the exceptional quality and merit of those proposed. I am pleased to announce that after careful evaluation, the 2023 Gazzola Laureate selected by the jury is Tamás Fejérdy of Hungary. Tamás Fejérdy has a specialist educational background in architecture and monument protection and a truly international practice. Throughout his service at ICOMOS since 1983, Tamás Fejérdy has contributed with distinction to the aims and objectives of ICOMOS. Among others, as Vice President from 2005 to 2008, and as a President of the International Committee of Historic Towns and Villages from 1992 to 2002. He is also the Honorary President of ICOMOS Hungary and was made ICOMOS Honorary Member in 2008. His input has been irreplaceable at every UNESCO World Heritage nomination of his home country. He was also instrumental for uncountable local, national, regional, international, and global monument protection and heritage management projects. Indeed, he was involved in the protection, enhancement, and use of diverse religious architecture in Kőszeg, in Hungary. He worked in the National State Organization for Monument Preservation, and he was a presenter at heritage academies regarding Visegrad 4 country issues. He also served as committee member of Europa Nostra and was part of a working group of the Council of Europe, and worked as a chairperson of UNESCO's World Heritage Committee in 2002-2003. Among others, he contributed to drafting of the Washington Charter in 1987 and participated at the NARA meetings in 1994-2004. He intervened on numerous World Heritage nominations and sites via their evaluation missions to Kutna Hora, reactive monitoring to Kathmandu Valley, and periodic reporting. It was first general European periodic report. Throughout his career, he received several prizes, such as Chevalier de l'Ordre des Arts et Lettres from the French Ministry of Culture in 1994, Order of Merit of the Republic of Hungary, Knight's Cross in 2003, Order of Merit of the Republic of Hungary, Officer's Cross in 2021, and the Gula Foster Award for Monument Protection in 2020, holder of commemorative medals Müller Istvan, Lados Genos, and Roman Andrasch. His outstanding career influenced most probably all member states of UNESCO World Heritage Committee through conference talks, teachings, supervising, advocacy, and consultant tasks. He actively participated at the development of numerous professional and scholarly doctrines, as well as national laws, regulations in Hungary regarding conservation, protection, preservation, use, and enhancement of monuments, building complexes, and sites. The jury was impressed by the extensive impact Tamás' work has had over time, both nationally and internationally, on behalf of ICOMOS, and at the service of heritage. His contribution have uplifted our shared objectives of sustaining heritage into the future. It is our honor to award Tamás Fejérdy the 2023 Gazzola Prize. You are kindly invited to come to the stage.
Thank you. Dear Madam President, dear colleagues in ICOMOS, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, chère Madame la Présidente, chers collègues de l'ICOMOS, chers amis, Mesdames et Messieurs.
Dear colleagues of ICOMOS, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you now with profound humility and even greater gratitude on an occasion, at a moment, and in a place that I never thought I would ever be part of. It is a very special, truly indescribable and unspeakable feeling to receive this prestigious award, the ICOMOS Piero Gazzola Prize. First of all, because it bears the name of the founder of ICOMOS, this wonderful personality, but also because ICOMOS has been, and still is, for me, a decisive factor in my entire professional career. And I would say, in my entire life. I owe a great debt of gratitude to those, especially Andras Roman, and also to the ICOMOS international leadership at the time, who made it possible for me to participate in the first ICOMOS international training program in 1978. an event which really launched my involvement in the national and international cooperation in the field of heritage conservation. It was practically then that I became a member of the ICOMOS extended family, international family. But
really about those to whom I owe thank you this honor beyond my merits. Thank you to all those who have been my teachers, my colleagues, masters in the unfolding of the wonderful vocation of monument conservation. Thank you to Rózsa, my wife, and all the members of my family for not only putting up with my monument obsession, but also for supporting me in serving this beautiful calling. Many, many, many thanks to the institutions and actors of ICOMOS in Hungary and internationally for the trust and support that have enabled me to be involved in so many great tasks. And last but not least, a huge thank you to those who nominated me for Gazzola Prize and who awarded it to me. This award is a huge recognition for the ICOMOS Hungarian National Committee and a source of a great, great personal pride for me. It encourages me to continue to be involved in the ICOMOS mission as long as God allows within my modest means. From the bottom of my heart, I wish that ICOMOS, which will be 60 years old in 2025, but always capable of renewal, will continue with useful vigor to fulfill the vocation set out by its founder, Piero Gazzola, and other great fathers. Thank you very much for the generosity of ICOMOS and the organizers in Australia for allowing me to receive this wonderful award in person, here and now. And I finish with following the formula of our former president, Professor Roland Silva. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Friends, ICOMOS friends, let's move on to the next. The same jury considers the application for ICOMOS honorary membership. Both honors are conferred by the General Assembly. The jury wishes to thank the national committees for the nominations received, and following our deliberations, recommends that 21st General Assembly confer honorary membership upon the following 11 eminent members of ICOMOS. I will read the reasons in alphabetical order. Dora Monteiro e Silva de Alcântara. As an architect and teacher, the jury recognized the extensive record of teaching the history of architecture and substantial professional contributions in built heritage conservation of Dora, Monteiro, and Silva de Alcântara, Brazil. Her principal occupations throughout a remarkable professional career have focused on cultural built heritage conservation and the teaching of Brazilian architectural history. She is an active member of the Brazilian Historical and Geographical Institute and is a renowned expert in Portuguese tile history and conservation. She was heavily involved in the recovery of student representation during her undergraduate course. Silva served as a model by learning and practicing architecture and heritage conservation in a period when the number of female students and professionals in Brazil was very low. A distinguished architect, she consulted with the National Historical and Artistic Heritage Institute, where she was responsible for the protection and general coordination of cultural and natural properties. Salvador Diaz Berrio. A key aspect of the contribution of Salvador Diaz Berrio was in pioneering the delimitation of historical zones, including cultural landscapes in Mexico in the 1970s, and coordinating the files of 21 properties inscribed on the World Heritage Natural and Cultural List. The jury appreciated the broad impact of these innovations and the progress he brought forward for the cultural, natural, and mixed heritage of Mexico. His contributions to the fields of conservation theory and history are expressed and communicated in 32 books or chapters, 54 articles, and countless lectures. Salvador Diaz is remembered and honored for his tireless dedication to the cultural and natural heritage of Mexico through identification, dissemination, protection, research, and teaching in his country, and the broad influence these works had on his colleagues and many communities. Zhang Jie. The jury recognized the special expertise advanced by Zhang Jie in the conservation of urban heritages in the Asian region. Zhang served as a vice president of ICOMOS CB International Scientific Committee on Urban Heritage and as a co-founder and current president of CB Asia Pacific subcommittees. Zhang has been instrumental in significantly enhancing the influence of ICOMOS in the Asia-Pacific region broadly, and his home country, China. Zhang is also the UNESCO chairholder on heritage conservation, planning, and sustainable social development. He has made remarkable contributions to heritage conservation in Asia, particularly responding to the rapid urbanization. Gideon Koren. Extensive service to ICOMOS International and ICOMOS Israel over decades raises Gideon Koren to honorary membership. The jury remarked on the breadth of his contribution internationally and nationally. He contributed internationally to ICOMOS as the ICOMOS International Vice President from 2011 to 2017, board member from 2008 to 2017, ICOMOS Ecography President from 2009 to 2015 and 2018 to 2021, and Bureau Member from 2000 to 2009. For ICOMOS Israel, he led as President from 2004 to 2012 and has always effectively collaborated with national colleagues. Gideon Koren was among the founders of ICLAFI, ICOMOS Scientific Committee, and led its development. He was involved in promoting the activities of ICLAFI in many countries, aiding national and international committees. One of his more important contributions to ICOMOS was fostering the concept of ICOMOS Emerging Professional Working Groups. Through the EP formation and early days, Koren has mentored and emphasized the importance of rejuvenating the organization, opening its gates for emerging professionals and persuading them to contribute to ICOMOS scientific committees. William Logan. The outstanding achievement of William Logan to further the mission of ICOMOS in the realms of academic scholarship, promotion of professional practice, and public advocacy for cultural heritage were noted with appreciation by the jury. Logan's works are particularly evident in fostering heritage preservation and protection in the Asia-Pacific region. As a member of Australia ICOMOS from 1976 to 2023, and as its president from 1999 to 2002, Logan undertook numerous UNESCO and ICOMOS missions to World Heritage Sites in 5 Asian countries. He authored many World Heritage State of Conservation reports and technical reviews. He was a member of drafting group for UNESCO's 2015 World Heritage and Sustainable Development Policy. Throughout his academic career at Deakin University, Melbourne, his heritage teaching and research and aiding universities in Asia-Pacific countries to establish their own heritage programs is especially notable and honored. Richard Mackay. The jury deeply appreciate the body of works of Richard Mackay, an internationally recognized Australian heritage practitioner and academic with over 40 years' experience, who has made an outstanding contribution to the work of ICOMOS as a World Heritage Advisor and a focal point for the guidance on World Heritage Impact Assessment and across the Asia-Pacific region. Richard Mackay is well known and respected for his innovative approaches in strategic heritage management and facilitation of community interests in heritage places in Australia for both Aboriginal and non-Indigenous heritage places. Internationally, he has contributed to diverse heritage communities around the world. As a Getty Conservation Institute scholar, he delved into international heritage practice. He has published widely and generously shared his knowledge with generations of university students, mentees, and ICOMOS emerging professionals. Bente Mathisen. The jury was especially impressed with the inspiring leadership of Bente Mathisen as focal point of the Our Common Dignity, rights-based approach to Heritage Working Group. For the past 5 years, Bente Mathisen has worked tirelessly in bringing together a passionate group of international experts in the field of human rights within the arena of cultural heritage. Due in most part to her supportive and intelligent leadership, Bente has attracted a large group of ICOMOS members from across the globe to the cause of dignity and rights for shared heritage. One of the most significant legacy that Bente has left the working group, and indeed ICOMOS, is the development of the Buenos Aires Declaration, Argentina, in 2018. This landmark declaration marked the 70th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights, and it sets out a framework that all ICOMOS members, committees, and groups should utilize to engage with communities and indigenous peoples, to embrace the principle of free, prior, and informed consent of source communities when working with communities, and to other assistance to such communities, thereby ensuring the active participation in the identification, stewardship, and development of our common cultural heritage. Yukio Nishimura. The jury recognizes Yukio Nishimura for his long and important service to ICOMOS as executive committee member from 1996 to 2002, as vice president from 2002 to 2005, and as President of ICOMOS Japan from 2009 to 2019. As Vice President of ICOMOS, he contributed to draft the Xi'an Declaration on the conservation of the setting of heritage structures, sites, and areas, which was adopted at the General Assembly in Xi'an, China in 2005. Nishimura contributed to the diffusion and increasing focus on heritage conservation activities in many Asian countries. As an urban conservation planner, he played a leading role in developing heritage conservation plans for many historic towns and sites in Asia, such as Lumbini in Nepal and Bagan in Myanmar, as well as many Japanese sites, including Kyoto and Shirakawa Gokayama World Heritage Sites. Nationally, he also initiated the ICOMOS Japan Award, played a leading role in acting the Landscape Act of 2004, which spurred the introduction of similar legislation in Korea in 2016. For his broad contributions to urban heritage conservation, the jury recognizes Yukio Nishimura as an honorary member of ICOMOS. Leonid Prybeha. As a widely respected Ukrainian specialist in the field of protection and conservation of cultural heritage objects, Leonid Prybeha is recognized nationally. Prybeha's particular expertise in the field of monuments of wooden folk architecture, conservation theory, and history of architecture were well noted and admired by the jury. His practical accomplishment for more than 50 years of work in the architectural science and heritage preservation field include some 150 studies of monuments and over 50 conserved objects. Leonid Prybeha contributed significantly to the team that created a unique architectural exposition of the National Museum of Folk Architecture and Life of Ukraine in Kyiv, for which he received the State Award of Ukraine in the field of architecture. As a professor, Prybeha trained more than 200 highly qualified architects, among whom there are currently many doctors of science, honored architects, associate professors, and well-known designers. Leonid Prybeha is recognized an honorary member of ICOMOS for his extensive, important contribution to the heritage of his home country, Ukraine. Gorelan Roluk. The jury recognized the collaborative spirit and formative contribution of Gorelan Roluk to ICOMOS and heritage fields over decades. During his tenure as a member of the International Board and Vice President, Gorelan committed to the strengthening of governance policies and procedures within ICOMOS. His leadership of Europe Group was inclusive and ambitious, enabling the national committees to come together as a cohesive force and resulting in such important initiatives as European Quality Principles for EU, funded projects with significant positive impacts on regional cultural heritage. Gorelan's involvement in ICOMOS has embedded its global and national dimensions. As President of ICOMOS Ireland, Gorelan led the hosting the ADCOM meeting in Dublin in 2010 and a seminal event in the development of ICOMOS Ireland National Committee. In his professional career, the Gorelan's major work has been on the consolidation, conservation, and preservation of Schuckarlic Michael, one of only 2 World Heritage Sites in Ireland. The jury recognizes Gorelan Roluk as an inspiring ambassador for ICOMOS, extolling the values and ethics of the organization in the work he has done, and in a way he has carried out this work. Yolanda Santera Lopez. The works of Yolanda Santera Lopez as an expert restorer for the National Institute of Anthropology and History in Mexico for more than 50 years led the jury to honor her for her heritage professional contributions. Santella Lopez's contributions nationally in archaeological conservation at the Tempio Mayor property and many historical sites of great importance in Mexico are notable. To advance the heritage conservation field more broadly, in recent years, she has developed works of social education on cultural heritage conservation aimed at communities of children and teenagers. This important work raises the awareness of the values and the contributions heritage can make from an early age. The conservation of Mexican cultural heritage has been advanced through the works of Santella Lopez. Now, I would like to invite the honorary members who are present to join us on stage so that we can all congratulate them for their hard work and achievement. And also, I would like to mention that the Bente is now online, and she's also participating online this meeting. So please come to the stage. So I would like to deliver certificate to Gulelan first. So please, I'd like to invite you to give a big applause to these honorary members and also Bente online. As my final words, I'd like to say that 2023 jury wishes to encourage the nomination of worthy ICOMOS members who make contribution to ICOMOS and to the protection, conservation, and management of heritage in their countries and internationally for the Gazzola Prize and for honorary membership. This jury worked to clarify the nomination process and drafted criteria for awards in order to foster broader recognition of the worthy ICOMOS members for these important distinctions. Thank you very much. It was a great honor to serve as the chair. Thank you very much.
I'd now like to invite to the stage Marie-Laure Lavernier, Director General of ICOMOS, and Dakota Dixon, the wonderful artist in residence. I'll come around the front with you. Thank you so much, Dakota, for your work during the General Assembly. Would you like to explain the meaning of the work?
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for being involved in helping make the artwork and create something very special. So I just asked the delegates here, when they got a chance in between sessions, to come and put their handprint on the artwork on the Aboriginal flag of Australia. And so it was thanks to everyone here that we got to create this artwork. And yes, it's a pleasure to be able to gift it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dakota. And we'll present the work to ICOMOS. And Marie-Laure, would you like to accept on behalf?
Well, thank you. I'm very honored to accept your present, which is really beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of art, and we will be very pleased to put it on the walls of our offices. So it will be in Paris now in a few weeks, and many visitors that we have will, of course, be very interested, and we will explain to them. And it will be for us a wonderful memory of the time that we have spent in Australia and all that we have learned about Aboriginal culture and art. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. I'd now like to invite to the stage Adonis Cox, the representative of the Royal Australian Mint. Pardon? Yes, okay. And Richard Mackay is going to introduce us to the... Hello, Adonis. Would you like to join Richard?
ICOMOS friends and friends of ICOMOS, I think we're meant to have the coin itself on the screen, if we could, please. Here we are. I'll just speak very briefly to introduce this coin. As many of you know, Australia has an extraordinary array of World Heritage properties. I mean, only 20 for a whole continent at this stage. But they range from the primeval volcanic landscapes of our sub-Antarctic islands through Heard Island, arguably the most pristine endemic environment on the planet, to extraordinary Gondwanan rainforests with species that date from the days of the dinosaurs, to deep time Aboriginal cultural landscapes, one of which you've had the experience of enjoying, through contemporary Indigenous culture, to post-colonial convict sites, exhibition buildings, and of course the Sydney Opera House, where we commenced this joyous week together not so long ago. And all 20 properties, including both of our fossil properties and all 11 of our Australian convict sites, are represented on this extraordinary, exquisite, engraved coin, which has been produced by the Royal Australian Mint in collaboration with Australia ICOMOS to mark the visit by the delegates of ICOMOS GA 2023 for the 21st General Assembly. It's an extraordinary piece of artwork. It commemorates the event, it celebrates our World Heritage, and it is now on sale in the marketplace in the Heritage Exposition. And let me tell you that yesterday there were queues around the block outside the Royal Australian Mint for this rather special limited edition $5 coin. And I'm very, very delighted to ask my now friend and long-standing colleague Adonis to present the coin to the President of ICOMOS. Adonis has worked on this coin. I'd have to say we approached the Mint in 2018 and they readily embraced the concept of an Australian World Heritage coin. We did not think at that stage we would be presenting all 20 properties. And Adonis has undertaken the role of engaging with the properties, obtaining their permission, liaising with their First Nations traditional custodians, liaising with the designers, and it is a true marvel for which I thank her and the Royal Australian Mint very much, and I invite her to present the coin.
Thank you.
Ms. Teresa. And before Adonis escapes, I would just like to present her also with a certificate of appreciation from GA 2023. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely presentation. I now hand over to our newly elected ICOMOS President, Teresa Patricio.
Thank you very much, Tracy. I acknowledge the Gadelical people, owners of the land, where we gather today, and I pay my respects to the elder, past, present, and emerging. And I'd like also to thank them for allowing the General Assembly, the 21st General Assembly of ICOMOS, to be held in their country. And of course, I pay also my respects to all indigenous people that join this General Assembly here. Thank you very much. So, wow, what an amazing 10 days week we had. You make me feel very proud of making part of ICOMOS family. It's with a great emotion for me to take the floor today here in front of all of you. But first of all, allow me to express my deepest and sincere thanks for the confidence you have shown me in me. I see, in fact, it's like a recognition of the work we have accomplished last 3 years. So thank you very much. My very sincere thanks for the trust you have expressed with the voting. Thank you. I'm also honored by this mandate, which I see as a collective task at the service of ICOMOS and at the service of all of you. I would like to turn now to Mario Santana, because I believe that we must express our gratitude to him, and mine in particular, for the work that he had accomplished during 9 years in the board and by his functions as Secretary General. Thank you, Mario. Let me also give a word of thanks to the outgoing vice presidents, Alpha Diop, that brought Africa to the board, and thank you, Alpha. Yan Bo from China, thank you very much, Yan Bo, for all your work. And Zeynep Gün Unal, you are in the board, and without you, I think it was impossible to achieve what we achieved last 3 years, helping colleagues and national committees. I also want to thank, of course, our Treasurer General, Pamela Jerome, who did a wonderful work. Thank you, Pamela. And of course, a big thanks to all the outgoing board colleagues. I'm sure we will continue to collaborate in the near future. And I wish you all the best in your new functions and future projects. And please, board members, allow me to give a special thanks to Peter Phillips. Thank you very much. Of course, I haven't forgotten our Secretariat and our Director General, Marie-Laure Lavenir. They are in charge of ICOMOS House. They are, in fact, the real ones that are in charge of the house. And I would like to express my admiration for the way they run our association on a day-to-day basis and for their dedications. So thank you very much, Gaia. Thank you very much, Marie-Laure. And then I would like to turn to you all, colleagues, my dear friends. There are a lot of you here today. I see that the room is, well, I have some difficulties, but I see that the room is quite full. Thank you so much for being here. At the opening of the General Assembly, I promise you that I will meet everyone, and perhaps I lied a bit. But there is so many of you, I try my best to meet and to talk with all you. And this week's program was so diverse that, of course, I couldn't speak with all of you. But I really try my best. But we were 1,400 delegates, 100 countries, a lot of meetings, a fantastic heritage exhibition, a symposium with 9 challenging themes, and 156 side events. We had a fantastic 10 days. So we were all running around trying to see as much as possible. And so I didn't meet all of you, but I heard you. And I heard your desire for change and the integration of others. I felt your energy, and I heard your hopes. And I want to express my gratitude for that. I'm very proud that you approve so important resolutions today that imprint the ICOMOS into a contemporary societal issues. Also, I was so impressed by the Youth Forum and the results of the work of more than 100 young people from all over the world. And they were working in a multicultural acceptance. And in fact, for me, this is the DNA of ICOMOS. So you represent the future of ICOMOS, and I believe that our future is so guaranteed. So thank you. I want to tell you how thrilled I am to be the one that can represent you, the one to whom you have entrusted the responsibilities of ICOMOS. And allow me to tell, like yesterday, Uncle Lex, Daruk custodian and assistant manager of the Blue Mountains, told to me during the welcoming smoking ceremony, we listening deeply and we walk softly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Merci, gracias, Cheche, shukran, teşekkür ederim, obrigada.
I would now like to introduce the President of ICOMOS Malaysia, Tiong Kion Boon.
Good morning. First of all, the Malaysian delegation, with the greatest respect, recognize the Gadigal people of Era Nation as the traditional guardians of this land on which the ICOMOS General Assembly and Scientific Symposium is taking place. And we would also like to thank them for their gracious welcome and generous hospitality towards us when we arrived and during our stay. We pay the greatest respect to their elders, past, present, and future. President Jill Iron, President Teresa Patricio, and all my fellow colleagues in ICOMOS. ICOMOS Malaysia is deeply honored by the trust of ICOMOS in general and the board in particular to be the host of the 22nd Triennial Assembly and ECOM meetings, as well as a scientific symposium in 2026. We see the trust as both as an honor and as well as a responsibility that we can only hope to discharge together with our friends and colleagues in ICOMOS. Have I changed? Okay. Now, Malaysia is a country of 3 parts or regions, each constitutionally equal to each other. And Malaya, which is the oldest part of Malaysia, or we quite often refer to as Peninsular Malaysia, lies to the west, bordered by the Straits of Malacca, and then 640 kilometers across the South China Sea are the Bornean states of Sarawak and Sabah. We have 4 heritage sites and 6 more on the tentative list. Kuala Lumpur is the federal capital, but we had not proposed to hold it there, as many have expected us to. But instead, we have proposed to hold the 22nd General Assembly away from the hustle and modernity of Kuala Lumpur, and have it instead in the geographical heart of Malaysia, in the city of the cats, Kuching. Kuching in Malay is a word for cats. There are concerns of connectivity expressed to us as far as air travel is concerned. But as today, all the major hubs in ASEAN are well connected to Kuching. And there is direct flight from Kuching to Perth, as well as to Hong Kong and a few other places. And there are discussions ongoing with several other airlines to fly direct from the home base to Kuching. And when it comes to 2026, I'm quite sure there will be a lot more connectivity insofar as air travel is concerned. We chose Sarawak and Kuching, not on the whim, but for the diversity and expression of cultural heritage by 31 ethnic groups which call Sarawak home. And some of the ethnic groups include Indians and Chinese. In the expression of that same diversity, among others, very important to all of us, food and the build fabric. More than that, it was the clear commitment by the state administration in pursuit of sustainability, and including the implementation of a transit network based on hydrogen fuel autonomous road transit that has persuaded us a year ago when we make the recce to Sarawak that Sarawak and Kuching is an appropriate venue. We are also persuaded by the well-equipped and designed Borneo Convention Center, Kuching. And the recce team consists of architects. So, you know, we have a rather critical eye as far as design of buildings are concerned. And the Borneo Convention Center, Kuching, will be the venue of our deliberations in 2026. We have not confirmed the exact dates of the assembly, but it had been agreed that the 22nd assembly will be held somewhere in the second week of October onwards, after the birthday celebrations of His Excellency, the Governor of Sarawak, on the 10th of October 2026. There will be pre- and post-conference tours, and details will be forthcoming. Now, I'd like to acknowledge certain people before we go on to the video. And chief among all, I think I'd like to acknowledge Donnie. Can you please stand up somewhere there? And Stevenson from Borneo Events. Donnie has especially been very helpful in helping us with the subvention grant and helping us to navigate through the intricacies of bureaucracy. And also, I will be killed almost immediately if I do not ask my dear wife to stand up first. And the rest of the Malaysian delegation who will be doing all the work and in the process make me look good. Thank you. And may I now ask you to all wish you selamat datang ke Malaysia. Welcome to Malaysia. 欢迎来马来西亚。
This is a new horizon. One we'd never imagined. In a land as old as time lies the ancient wisdom of mankind. We are all in search of something greater to find meaning in the mysteries long forgotten. What if we went back to where it all began and reconnect with our origin? Now feel the rhythm of Sarawak. Stillness as you awaken to newfound senses. May this life be a more immersive journey for as far as you wander. Sarawak, your journey begins here.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. And now I'd like to invite President Teresa Patricio to take the floor again.
Thank you very much. It's open, yeah. Thank you so much, Tracy. I'd like to give you a word about our ADCOM meetings for 2024 and 2025. So normally we had a candidate for the ADCOM meetings in 2024, that it was a proposal from our National Committee of Mexico. And happily, just before the starting of the General Assembly, the National Committee redrew the candidacy because of security reasons, because in the year of the moment we were organizing the meetings is the period of elections and is a little bit unstable, so they prefer to not go further with this proposal. So the board tried to contact different national committees of the region, because we think that can be good to go to the same region. And we have two proposals from two national committees that, of course, they need still to contact their own boards and some cultural institutions and their countries before having a final offering. So we have a proposal eventually from ICOMOS Brazil and also ICOMOS USA. So I really thank you very much, the colleagues that react and respond so quickly positively for this. So I hope that till the end of the year, we will be able to communicate to all of you what is the final decision. But we will go to the Americas. For 2020, for 2025, for the ADCOM meetings, we have also more or less the same situation. We have two national committees that made some proposals. We are discussing with them. So the two national committees, well, is Kenya, that we don't have a national committees, but we have a very good group of members to hold that committees in Nairobi. And we had also a very kind proposal from Princess Diane Firas to go to Jordania. So once more, I will try to, perhaps not in the end of the year, but beginning of the year, next January, February, to be able to communicate the final decision. Voilà. Thank you very much from... Thank you very much. Thank you, Trace.
Thanks, Teresa. I'd now like to ask Stuart Moore from EarthCheck to the stage to make a presentation. Thanks, Stuart. Thank you. Very nice. Please.
Okay, clickers here. Forward, backward. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my absolute pleasure to be with you here today. I hope the conference has been a rewarding and successful one. I know how busy you've been. My role is a very simple one today, and it's to confirm that your events team have worked very hard to make this a responsible and sustainable event. And that's been made possible by working with EarthCheck, which is my company. We're a global business advisory group that specialises in the benchmarking and certification of sustainable tourism across the world, and Reforest, who I'm going to introduce a little bit more in a moment, who've been able to work with us and provide for some offsets to support the program. I'd also like to recognise that, like all things to sustainability, it's about a partnership. It's about everyone working together, and I would like to acknowledge the ICC. The ICC is a benchmarked and certified convention centre under the EarthCheck program, and they work very hard every day to reduce their water waste and energy, and also to provide a contribution to the local community, and also be providing your vegetarian meal today. There were 3 steps involved with the program, and look, simply the first one is the scope. To sit back, we should do this for all of our events and meetings, and have a look at the nature upon which the planning and management of the event was undertaken. The second one is to work with the team to get a clear understanding of the data that's available and to verify that data. And then thirdly is to use that data to develop a benchmarking program to understand the carbon footprint. What they was able to do is to understand that the event footprint was found to be about 188 kilograms of CO2 emissions per attendee, and by partnering with Reforest, we've been able to plant 1,200 trees. That's about 1 tree per delegate. That equates to about 230,000 COE per attendee, and that allows us to actually offset the program, particularly in terms of the events and schedules we've undertaken. Those plants will actually be planted in the Widgery area in Victoria, which is also a habitat for endangered southern brush-tailed rock wallabies. So to conclude, well done, ICOMOS. Please enjoy your lunch today and safe travels home.
Thank you. Thanks, Stuart. Thank you so much, Stuart, for that really significant presentation about the sustainability performance of the conference. We're very proud to have a partnership with EarthCheck, and obviously this area was of such great significance to our members in Australia and of course all around the world. I'd now like to invite to the podium the convener of the General Assembly 2023, Professor Richard Mackay.
Friends, I feel like I've never left the podium. I'd just like to begin by saying that the collaboration that we have had with EarthCheck, and I thank Stuart for his address, including its brevity, is emblematic of how we've been able to deliver ICOMOS GA 2023. I was invited to say a few words about that because there has been considerable interest, and I'm just proposing to give a very short overview to explain how it's been done. Australia, and Sydney in particular, is by any measure a wonderful destination, a fantastic venue, but it's also a very costly venue for a global event, not only in terms of the travel and the carbon footprint, but also just the cost of being here in a facility like this, or in something like the Joan Sutherland Theatre at the Sydney Opera House. And so Australia ICOMOS back in 2016 made a strategic decision that the only way it would be possible to offer to host the General Assembly, having tried twice before unsuccessfully, would be to partner with both national and state government. And so what we did is we analysed what was already in the published policies and commitments made by the governments, and we identified where in those existing policies ICOMOS would fit and what we could deliver in terms of an event which would not be asking for something extra from government, but explaining to government how we could help them deliver what they'd already promised. And put simply, in order to do that, we needed to make the event a bit bigger and a bit grander and a bit more classy than it might otherwise have been. And you've been the beneficiary of that because it's reflected in things like the calibre of our venues, the standard of the catering. We needed to make the event impressive so that it was attractive for the politicians. And I pay tribute to the former national government, which made the decision that they would support this event, and then reached out to the state government and to the City of Sydney to say, you need to support this. And part of the state government's requirement was that it was not just to be an ICOMOS event, it needed to have public components. And this is why we had the public, extraordinarily successful and well-attended public heritage lecture on Monday evening in the Sydney Town Hall. And it's why we've had the Heritage Exposition and the Heritage Trades Fair, which I would encourage you to visit if you've not already done so. It's open all day tomorrow. So these were public benefits so that the state government, in supporting ICOMOS, could also say they were doing something for the community. And a corollary of that has been that we have reached out very proactively to the media to ensure that the government is recognised and that cultural heritage messages and the outcomes of the General Assembly are effectively communicated to the wider audience. We've obviously relied really heavily on ICOMOS volunteers, and I do pay tribute to literally more than 100 members of Australia ICOMOS who've taken on roles in committees furthering different aspects of the event. I won't mention names because I'd leave someone out or we'd be here until tomorrow. But it was also very important to network and collaborate with partners in government. And the ones I just mentioned quickly and briefly are the Sydney Harbour Federation Trust, who provided Cockatoo Island as the venue for the Youth Forum. How cool was that, having the youth event in a World Heritage property on an island? The City of Sydney for the Centennial Hall and various other support. Placemaking New South Wales, and I do mention one name, Dr. Wayne Johnson. Wayne has conducted something like 8 tours himself this week. He's been responsible for delivering the venue for the Heritage Trades Fair. He's responsible for the banners on Pyrmont Bridge. He's arranged for the bridge to be opening so we can have the photo shortly, and a little later on tonight he's adding in fireworks just to make things really exciting. But also the National Parks and Wildlife Service, with the wonderful hosting in the Greater Blue Mountains over the last 2 days in collaboration with Gundungurra and the National Trust. Museums of History in New South Wales have made their venues available, and we had a lovely time on Wednesday evening at Luna Park, Sydney, and I have photographs of some of you to prove that. And look, let me say, without these relationships and the collaboration, the support from our generous corporate patrons, it simply wouldn't have been possible. And to put that in context, for those of you who were savvy enough to take advantage of the early bird rate at 750 Australian dollars, that is almost exactly 20% of the actual cost of delivering your benefit from GA 2023, the rest coming from our national government, our state government through its various agencies, and our generous corporate patrons. And I finally thank 2 of our strategic partners who've gone a little bit unacknowledged and a little bit unnoticed this week. The first is the ICC Sydney. As Stuart mentioned, in fact, it's not only been a great venue for what we've enjoyed this week, it's also of itself a sustainable carbon neutral venue. So our journey to carbon neutrality stands on the shoulders of the ICC's existing commitments. And the people that you really haven't seen and who really haven't been acknowledged is our conference organisers from Aranex. Let me say it's a very complicated event. Teresa mentioned 158 different components. More than 1,600 of you, including exhibitors and youth forum delegates, from more than 100 countries with all manner of problems, and Aranex has handled that with aplomb, and there's a huge amount of behind the scenes work that has actually made this event possible. Yes, we should. And the irony of that is there's probably only 3 of them backstage managing all of this, and the West are working hard on the gala dinner for tonight. But there you go, we'll convey the applause. It's been an honour and a privilege to be the convener. It's been an extraordinarily exciting experience. I'm not sure if I knew back in 2016 where it would be ending in 2023 if I would have taken it on, but I thank you for the opportunity, the confidence, and have a fabulous last couple of days at GA 2023. Thank you.
So, I'd like to give a vote of thanks for all those who contributed and gave their time to making this General Assembly of ICOMOS a success. I can't read, yeah, please. So I'd like to thank the General Assembly Committee and officers, President of the General Assembly, Professor Tracy Ireland, the Vice President, perhaps I will read and we will give a vote of acclamation in the end. Vice Presidents of the General Assembly, Tianqian Bon, Luna Rajab, Belly Herman Niangao, Secretary General of the General Assembly, Mari Santana Quintero, and the rapporteurs of the General Assembly, Marianne Letimaki and Deli Rosan Ketchon. Also, a vote of thanks to the Credential Committee, to the Election Committee, and to the Resolution Committee. There are a lot of names, so if you allow me, I will continue. Next slide, please. A vote of thanks also to the Candidatures Committee, to the Grants Committee, and to the Gazzola Prize and Honorary Members jury. Also to the ICOMOS General Assembly 2023 strategic partners, and these including the Government of the Commonwealth of Australia, the North-South Wales State Government, the City of Sydney, Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, Sydney Opera House, Sydney Harbour Federation Trust, the North-South Wales Park Services, Placemaking, NSWay, Transport for NSWay, Luna Park Sydney, Sydney Water, ECC Sydney, and of course, Aranex, the conference organizers. Also, a vote of thanks to ICOMOS GA 2023 corporate patrons, including Art of Multimedia, Earthcheck, Extant Heritage, GML Heritage, Lovell Chen, and many other corporate patrons who made the GA 2023 possible. Delegates of the credentials and all the committees, we had 40 delegates, so I didn't read your names because we are trying to keep on time to make a group picture. So, but big thank you for all of you. Of course, a vote of thanks for Australia ICOMOS for their hard work and support in organizing this General Assembly. And of course, in particular, the President of ICOMOS Australia, Tracy Ireland, the GA 2023 convener, Richard Mackay, Deputy Convener, Duncan Marshall, Organizing Committee Chair, Ellen Lardner, Youth Forum Convener, Michelle Basta, ICOMOS Board Members, Peter Phillips, and the Scientific Symposium conveners, co-conveners, Steve Brown and Ona Vilekis, as well as the numerous ICOMOS members throughout Australia and overseas who have contributed on committees and panels, hosted events, and assisted with the delivery of the GA 2023. Thank you. The company Aerovote for their reliable and diligent accompaniment of our voting process. And of course, the ICOMOS International Secretariat, Gaia Youngblad, Jessica Khan, and Gabrielle Lozada, Marie-Laure Lavenir, Yuna Nathan, Deli Rosin Quechon for their hard work in organizing this General Assembly. And so I will ask vote of thanks by acclamation to all ICOMOS members who participate in person in Sydney as well as online in the voting process and in the hybrid sessions to ensure the statutory continuity of our organization. So a big vote of thanks for all of them. Thank you.
Gaia, are you going to announce the final matters?
So we're happy to confirm that we can have our group photo. So the bridge will open at 12:20. So we ask you to please go directly to the Piermont Bridge, which is the bridge with all the ICOMOS flags on it you've been walking over every day to come to this building. So please, as now the session is finished, go straight in direction of the bridge. You will see people in high visibility vests who will guide you, and we should all be on the bridge before 12:20, before it swings open for our picture, and afterwards there is lunch here at the venue before the afternoon sessions.
We need to get there before the opening.
Yeah,
of the
so obviously we have to be there before this bridge swings open, which is, and we don't want to lose any of you, so go there straight away.
So, and that closes the General Assembly for 2023. Thank you.